Hello and welcome to CloudBeat's new synthetic monitoring product presentation. Today we are going to go over how you create a test monitor from your test automation code and how you can run this monitor schedule on site on which browsers and device you want to run it. And then of course, most important part, how you analyze the results, how you get notifications, how you see that your synthetic monitors monitoring your production and business goals, and how you can basically have your hands on your entire production performance and availability. So first things first, we will start from creating a new test project. So again, CloudBeat, just to emphasize, CloudBeat Synthetic works based on your existing test automation code. So you can basically take your existing test automation project, whether it's written in TestNG, JUnit, and number of other testing frameworks, and then you can basically use part of this test or all the entire testing project in your production. Now, in order to do it, what we do, we are going to create a new project. So we are going to projects screen, we are going to press add project, and then we are going to name our project. Let's call it new testing project, and we are going to select framework that our tests are written. So at the moment I'm going to select Oxygen, which is our in-house open source testing framework based on JavaScript, Node.js, and WebDriver IO. Of course, you're free to select any other frameworks like Java-based frameworks or .NET frameworks, and also more frameworks are coming up soon. So we'll create Oxygen, and then on the next step, we are going to select the group of the users who want to let access, and the last step is to select where our test project is located. We have two options here. We can select to import the project from our Git repository, or we can just upload it manually in a form of zip file. So we are going to use Git integration here. So we are going to enter our Git repository here, branch, username, and password, and this way we are going to import our test project into Synthetic Monitoring Platform. Now, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to show you the project that we already previously imported. So basically what I do, once your project is imported, you can find all your existing tests here under testing cases. So here we are. This is our example project based again on Oxygen open source framework. So what we see here, we see our existing test tree. So those folders are created based on your test project structure. And today we are going to work with our sample test case called calculator. This is Android-based calculator scenario, which is going to do a simple calculation on Android phone. Here you can actually review your test script in script tab. So as you can see, it's going to basically initialize device connections, and going to press 8, then plus, then 7. And going to validate that the result, we got the appropriate result here. So this is going to be our synthetic monitor for today. Again, just to emphasize that you can create any type of test with Oxygen or any other framework. It can be anything from web to mobile to desktop application test to API. And even you can test your telecom infrastructure such as SMSs and emails and phone calls and so on. But again, we want just to overview a synthetic testing platform, and you can see our other videos and see how you can create tests with our own in-house Oxygen platform. Okay, so here we are. We have our script. Now what we are going to do in order to convert it to synthetic monitor, so we are going to go to settings, and then here you see a synthetic monitoring section. So all you need to do is click enable, and then you will enable basically you will convert this test to synthetic monitor. Once you do it, what you need to do, you can schedule it, right? So you can select how often you want to run your test monitor. You can do it as low as every 5 minutes, or more frequently, or you can do it on certain days and certain time. So once you select you want to run it every 10 minutes, you go to devices, and because this is a mobile test or mobile monitor, you will see at least a large list of different available devices. And here you can use our device cloud based on our partners like Genymotion, Perfecto, South Labs, and others. Or you can actually connect your local device in your local browser, and you can build your synthetic monitoring farm using our test lab infrastructure. Anyway, we have right now already the devices connected, so you can very easily select the device you want to run your test on. For example, we'll select your Google Pixel device. All I need is just to select it, and that's it. Once we click Save Changes button, we are set in terms of ready to run our checks. And now behind the scenes, we start to get our monitors being executed. Of course, we can just we can run it on different locations, either geographical locations. We can run it on different operating systems, on different versions, and so on. So there is a large flexibility of how you can divide your monitors among different locations and devices. So let's now go to the special synthetic monitoring part, where you can actually monitor your devices, when you can monitor your scripts and when you can see the results. Okay guys, so we now switch to a monitoring page. You just go to monitors and select monitors menu. So here we are, we can see a summary of all available synthetic monitors in this account. So here we are, we have our calculator, which I have just another example of monitoring Tesla homepage. So today we are going to focus on the calculator monitors that we previously seen. So what we can see here on the screen, so we can see a summary of all available monitors in terms of availability and performance. We are going to talk in a moment about what the performance is and how it's measured. Anyway, please know that you can switch and see the charts and the results based on different period, from anything from today to last 30 days. So here we are, we see there was some degradation in availability here on this date, and we also see the same date our response time went up, so there probably was some issue here. Other than this, it looks pretty stable. What we're going to do is we can now drill down to a particular monitor and see different aspects of it. So if we go to calculator monitor, now we see a small dashboard here. So we see the last check status, it's okay. We see how many checks we had in the last selected period. Again, the period here is 30 days, but we can select anything from today to range of last month. We see availability numbers, so we see performance, average performance time, and again we see the charts here per specific monitor. And now it's getting really interesting, because here down the screen we can see the SLA status, so we can define different SLAs, and I will show in a moment how you can define the SLA. And so we can see how this particular SLA performs. What are the thresholds within the normal range, warning, minor, and critical. So there are 4 types of ranges that you can define. Then we can see the recent failures. So here you can see actually failures and errors that happened recently in the selected period. And so we can go click here and see the detailed report of all the failures across different devices. So this is really cool. We can see the aggregation of different devices and browsers in one single report. And we can easily analyze it. So we just click on device, we select the monitor, and here we are. We see the steps, and then we see that last step has failed. So I can go ahead and see what happened. I see the error details. I see the screenshot here. Okay, and of course I can also see this here in centralized error tab. So I can very easily see what happened. I can also go ahead and see either system logs or device logs. We're actually recording, if you're running your test on mobile device, we are recording all the device logs. And so you can see if there are any particular error or anything that went wrong on the device. You can actually see what happened and what caused the error behind the scenes. So this is just to quickly show you the error analytical side. You can also mark this monitor failure reason as a real defect, as environment issue, device issue, and so on. Let's go now back to our monitor stats. So here we are. So we already saw how we can see recent failures. Another interesting figure is a transaction summary. So we can actually go ahead and see all available transactions in our monitor and see how each individual transaction performs. We can see its average performance, and we can time and availability time. And in a moment, I'm going to show you how we measure performance and what is actually it's based on. But here it's very easy. You can see basically how your most critical business transactions are performing. So those are the statistics we can get based on different time periods. I'm going to show you how we can configure our monitor and get more fine-tuning on it. So I'm going to click here on editing icon. And here I see monitor details, so I can see my monitor name, I can add some description. Now, I mentioned that I'm going to explain you how we measure monitor performance. So we have a special performance metric field, so you can select how your performance, average performance is calculated. You can calculate your average performance based on 3 different metrics. So you can measure it as average transaction time or average step time. So step is inside the transaction. It can be opening a page, it can be an API call, anything. And so you can measure it based on average step duration, or you can measure it on overall check duration. So it depends how you want to measure a performance and how you want to see this KPI. You can select one of this option, and any further checks will be calculated based on the metrics. So you select here. You can also can set an overall monitor threshold for performance. So if in this case, if average transaction time will go beyond 5 seconds, you will get notified, and you will see how you can define notification based on this prompt. So those are general monitor settings. We can go ahead and see our defined SLAs. Now this is interesting. We have SLAs based on two different scopes. So there is a general scope for SLA, which means regardless particular transaction, you can just define an average based SLA based on, again, transaction time, step duration, and overall check duration. And as I already explained you, there are 4 threshold levels. So normal, which means within this range, any SLA performance is okay, is good. Warning, which means it's not that good, but we probably we can ignore it. We just want to measure it. And then minor and critical is something we can already get alerts on. So we can decide that certain groups we can alert them on minor issues and certain groups on critical issues. And of course, we can also monitor it all over the time. And another is a transaction-based scope SLA. So you can actually select a particular transaction you want to measure, and define a separate SLA metrics for particular transaction. It can be very useful if you have a critical transactions which you want to measure separate, like registration, sign up, checkout. You probably would like to treat those transactions separately and on a different level. So as you see, it's very flexible how you can define SLAs. And the last tab here is notification and alerts. So there are 2 types here. So you can get your recurrent reports, regardless, failures, just gave them on regular frequency. And so you can define which group you want to send the reports to. So, you can create different groups based on the frequencies I want to get reports. As you can see, the frequency could be daily report, at the end of the day, weekly report, and monthly report. So, you can have your operational team getting daily reports, and you can have some more, mid-tier management getting weekly reports, and then you can send senior management monthly reports, or, any other setup you think is right for you. And then you have alert groups, so you can basically add alerts or triggers, different triggers for different groups. So if it's your support team or anything that needs to be available 24/7, then you would probably go and select all 5 categories that you want them just to be alerted to pretty much everything. Then you can have more management groups or more second and third tier support, getting more reaction on, say, critical SLA issues and perhaps performance thresholds. So as you can see, it's pretty flexible, and you can define different alert groups and different alert triggers. So you are not overflooding everyone with alerts on one side. On the other side, you capture every critical situation in your production and you route it to the right people. So as you saw, this is different options I can set for my monitor. I'm going again back to my monitor. So here it is. There is a screen where you can pretty much get every critical information you need. So it's very simple. Of course, you can go ahead and also see all recent checks in one place. So if you just want to go and say have a weekly habit when you're going through different checks and see how they perform, then you can also go and see individual checks and see based on which region or which selections are executed, and you can go ahead and see successful results either for, again, web transactions, API, mobile, desktop, and so on. So this is what we wanted just to show you quickly, the overview of our synthetic monitoring solution. It works great based on your existing tests. So, and of course you can write your own monitor tests based on Oxygen, our in-house testing framework. You can find videos of how to get started with it on our YouTube channel. And if you have, of course, any questions, feel free just to approach. You can see contact details in this video. Hope, guys, you like it and hope you find it useful. And we really encourage you to try it out and bring your testing project into production and make sure your production shines. Thank you very much for your attention.